we deal with all types of families in core. The cohesion of you guys around those boys is ridiculous. They feel supported. You don't see the normal trauma and stress that you see when a family,
because we went
has
through some
broken
stuff,
up.
boy.
Right,
Oof,
right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
But I think early on, it's just like I said, and their mom and I are finally in a good place. Derek and I, had our issue, and after we had our issue, we talked the following summer, and I explained my side, he explained his side. But you can ask him this, like when we were done, I'm just like, hey, this is why I'm still playing. Like, yo, you're gonna be around my kids more than I am, so you need to discipline them, show them how to be men, this, and that, and that side of the conversation never to be had again because the boys loved him and got
Where
just
did that come from you? Because you said you
because it's
grew up in
about
a
them.
pretty traumatic environment.
because
So where did that I guess that wisdom come from for you to know to stay away from all these things that you were growing up around? Where did that influence come from to kind of
maybe just self? Like I'm a deep thinker, like that's why I like to use cannabis because I like it really just opens my thoughts and through that whole process, like you said, if you would look at the tabloids and the drama people even probably saw or heard, you would think like, damn, I feel bad for those boys because it's going to be this. But, credit to her and I, like we never had it around them first and foremost. And they were really young when it happened. But outside of that, like I said, like to me, that's why it had to, because the boys are just like, Dad, we love Derek. I was like, oh, that's dope. And that was one of the main reasons why, like, I was just like, this is not about me. It's not about my ex-wife. It's not really even about him. It's about us as a unit raising those two young men. You know what I mean? So like I said, I empowered him very early on because I'm in a blended family now. You know what I mean? So I know sometimes it's hard to, how do you discipline? How do you say this? How can you, and I'm a free cusser. And I think I've only almost said one cuss word on it, but so when I say go do something with a cuss word on it, it's not because I'm mad at you. That's just kind of how I speak. But my kids know that, you know what I mean? But dealing with other kids, so that, dealing with other kids. So I just wanted Derek to know that I had, he has my support and my confidence in them. They're like, yo, as a team, we got to raise these kids. So to get back to your, question, your answer is just like, it wasn't about me. After we had to do it, now, okay, we got that out the way. We explained our sides. You guys are happy. I'm happy. We got to make sure that they're happy and they understand and they have, a childhood they remember, because you remember everything growing up. Like I remember how messed up my childhood was. So that's what I didn't want for them.
So you speak, I think I know the answer to this, but I'd love to get some clarity. So, building through that in your life, the trauma, everything that you grew up with, do you now mental health for these athletes now, how important that is?
Huge.
Was there something else that helped you get through besides your own fortitude, your medicinal uses that help you get through it? Was there counseling?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Counseling was huge. And I think, especially, in the Black community, first of all, we're not taught, I would even say minorities in general, like not just because we most of us grow up different, than maybe some of our, our friends. And it was always, either he's crazy or shut up and hide your tears. It wasn't manly. It wasn't something our communities we talked about. But I think I credit NBA players in particular for coming out and saying like, hey man, like I'm not okay. Because a lot of us are not, we have so much PTSD from the way we grew up. It's unbelievable. And throwing money at it 20 years later doesn't make it go away. You know what I mean? So it's just like you see these kids acting out and saw me acting out when I was a youngster. It's just like, at some point, you need some help. And I'm glad that it's a topic of conversation now because people have to hide it as much. But for me, early 2000s, we didn't talk about PTSD. Shut up. You know what I mean? So now I'm 43 and, I'm in two different types of counseling because, understanding that, some of my moods and actions and the way I view things are based on not how it should be. You know what I mean? Like I grew up rough. I grew up, I saw some stuff I shouldn't have saw at an early age and learned things. So it's almost kind of like deprogramming and understanding like, okay, I need to get myself better because I need to be the best me to be the best partner to my fiance, to the best dad to my kids, to the best business partner, to the best coach. So, being able to look at yourself, I always pride myself on, I could look I'm not perfect, but I could look in the mirror and see my soul because it's pure. If I mess up, I mess up. I'll be the first one to tell you, and I've done it on a huge scale on ESPN. Hey, I've messed up. Or the Ime Udoka, like, hey, I spoke before I had the information. And a lot of people let that slide, and then a lot of people, well, yeah, now you're doing it. Like, no, I was wrong.
Right.
I'm okay with being wrong. You know what I mean? Next time I learn from that. Let me find more information before I say something like that. But just kind of being transparent, being real, having your heart in the right place. And then obviously counseling is huge because most of us grow up tough. And the goal is to, if you're fortunate enough to make it, not to have your kids grow up the same way. You know what I mean? So that was my goal. And, I'm in counseling, been doing counseling for a while, but I definitely, if it's, because especially for me, it's hard because I can't just tell my business to my homies.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I'm in the spotlight and I've been in the spotlight for a long time and in the spotlight for a lot of different reasons. You know what I mean? So it's just like, some people are in a position where they can't just tell somebody because there's too much on the line. And, being able to find yourself a counselor. And the one thing I'll say is my fiance, she found, because I hope this doesn't come off the wrong way, but I just felt like an older man or older woman that is definitely not necessarily my ethnicity or been down the path I've been down or seen the racism I've seen, and maybe this is shallow and maybe I need to learn and grow on this, but the way I looked at it was like I stayed away from it early on because I was like, there's no way that person can relate to me. Like they can give me some stuff that they studied in school and learn, but you don't know what it's like to be biracial. You don't know what it's like to see abuse and violence and have your high school almost burned down by the KKK and see your parents do drugs and all this kind of stuff. So, I really credit my fiance for finding me someone that I really feel like I can spill my life and not have to hold anything back and some ugly truths come out, you know what I mean, especially when you can try to better yourself, but like obviously we know the right and wrong, but the mental capacity and the strength to do what's right, sometimes. So when you're really spilling and having those moments, when it comes out of your mouth, like, oh, can't believe I did that, you know what I mean? So it's just, again, really trying to be self-aware, always trying to improve in all aspects of life. And I think when I'm able to do that, I'm able to be the best me for everyone else because I'm such a provider for so many people.